Is it very expensive to produce?
No, I don't.
Oh.
That I know. Not that I know. I don't produce carbon nanotube. I don't think it's extremely expensive compared to other.
And is it is the moving nanotech material that is moving, like these wires or these coils, is that a very new development?
Well, nanomaterial for
like the springs, like because I've read about people talking about switches and springs and on the nano scale, and talking about that as being a sea change of, because nanotubes are still, right? Or they're not meant to.
Well, they've been used. They started, for example, in the dye solar cell more than 10 years ago. Nanotechnology is around for a while, and nanotubes and nano structure, they are around for a while. They're becoming more and more popular for their tunable properties. So let's say that modern technique allowed to study the nanostructure at that level much better than before. And then there is a need in the electronic to make nanotransistor. So because of physical limit, I mean, you cannot. We are not making on the large scale, but nanotransistor with nanotube. A good application is in gas sensor devices. They use a lot nanostructure in gas sensor devices because they have a very large surface compared to their volume.
Cool. Well, you've already mentioned some of this, but let me just ask you, kind of maybe as a last thing, can you maybe list some potential, because I know you have a lot of great ideas about how this piezoelectric harvester might be used, like it might be in someone's phone or their shoe, or could you maybe just list some of the possibilities that you've found?
Well, for any application that is low energy, just charging a battery or just helping to charge a battery, they can be used for small LED, for example, to illuminate your walk path. You're walking and you can illuminate the way you're walking in, so maybe for an emergency, can be also even used for emergency exit, especially when no other kind of energy is available except people walking, for example, I would say. It can be very used for bicycle riders. Can be used also for analyze structural change in buildings or in buildings or in any kind of buildings, just bridges. They can monitor what happened to the structure, or the structure moving, or what kind of vibration are on the structure. There are infinite possibilities, but they are limited by the amount of energy that you can really harvest.
Okay, great. Is there something that you thought you wanted clarification on, or that you had a question about? That is fantastic. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so maybe